Monticello Park is located in a section of Alexandria, Virginia called Beverly Hills. The zip code of this Beverly Hills is 22305, not 90210. The park is very small, only 6¼ acres, with houses on 3 sides and Beverly Drive on the 4th. It is long and narrow, with a stream running the length of it. It is a popular destination for birders in the spring for a number of reasons. The park is on a ridge, and the trees in the park and surrounding neighborhood attract many migrating songbirds. Because the park is so small and the sight lines are good, you have a reasonable chance to see any species that is present. More importantly, a lot of birds come into the stream, usually to bathe and or drink, so you can often look down to see a bird rather than having to strain your neck looking into the canopy. Here is a Scarlet Tanager who has come down from the treetops and is bathing with a robin. This common yellowthroat is taking a bath. And here is a chestnut-sided warbler having a long, leisurely soak. In addition to watching the birds bathe, you usually can watch them preen after they get out of the water. As much as I enjoy seeing beautiful neotropical migrants, I was much more interested in an unusual resident bird who came down to bathe during the spring of 2012. She is a female cardinal, known to some of the people living in Beverly Hills as Gray Girl. Most people who are not bird watchers can identify a male cardinal, the familiar redbird. The northern cardinal is the state bird for more states, 7, than any other species. Virginia is one of the states. Cardinals are very common at Monticello Park and in the surrounding neighborhood. The name cardinal is derived from a word that means the hinge of a door. The hinge was something on which other things turned, which is why cardinal now is used to describe things that are deemed important. The cardinal points on a compass, a north, south, east, and west. The cardinal numbers are used in basic arithmetic. There are cardinal sins and cardinal virtues. In the Catholic Church, cardinals are the important officials just below the Pope and are elected to be part of the College of Cardinals. The red bird was named after the Catholic cardinals who wore red robes. Female cardinals are a warm brown color. They do not have as much black on their face and usually do not carry their crest as high. Young cardinals are brown also, but not as warm a brown color as the female. As you can see on this one, caught during a banding trip in Maryland, the bill is blackish rather than red. And if you look at the space over the blue line, the young cardinal seems to have lips that stick out from the side of its bill. These lips are called flanges, the same word used by the construction industry for the rim of a pipe or beam. For many bird species, the inside of the mouth of baby birds is a bright color. That is the target at which adult birds stuff food. After young cardinals mature, the lips disappear and the bill becomes red. But let's return to the female cardinal. What is it that she has that Gray Girl lacks? The answer has to do with pigmentation. A pigment called melanin is found in creatures throughout nature. It comes from a word that means black, and it is responsible for dark coloration. Albinos lack either melanin or the enzymes capable of producing it. Eumelanin, which simply means the most typical form of melanin, is responsible for black and dark brown coloration. A lack of eumelanin in human hair can cause it to turn gray. Pheomelanin, which means melanin that causes things to be brownish, is the less common form of melanin. It causes yellow to red coloration and is responsible for female cardinals being light brown. Gray Girl has a rare condition which has resulted in a lack of pheomelanin in her feathers. This condition made her one of the most unusual birds seen at Monticello Park in the spring of 2012. This photo was taken in 2008, and it features either Gray Girl or a previous cardinal who had the same genetic abnormality. When I first saw Gray Girl, one of the first things that I thought of was how much her coloration resembles a species I saw in the southwestern United States called the Pyrrholoxia. Here is a photo of a Pyrrholoxia, which is in the same genus as the northern cardinal. In looking at the gray cardinal next to the Pyrrholoxia, you can see that the Pyrrholoxia's bill is yellowish rather than red, and the bill is somewhat rounder. The crest is narrower, and the face has red rather than the cardinal's black, but the two birds are clearly very much alike. Cardinals and Pyrrholoxias build similar nests. Here is a nest that a cardinal built in a bush at eye level near the entrance to Monticello Park. The nest was subsequently abandoned. Here is the nest outside the bush. Pyrrholoxia nests are somewhat more compact, but the coloration of the eggs of the two species is very similar. Cardinals and Pyrrholoxias probably were part of the same species before diverging in their distant evolutionary past. I wonder why the abnormal gray girl looks so much like a normal Pyrrholoxia. To look for clues, I turn to my friend Sarah. Sarah is a vertebrate, and all normal vertebrates have pheomelanin in their bodies. It gives coloration to many parts of the human body, including lips, nipples, and parts of the reproductive organs. Sarah has red hair, which means that her hair contains high levels of pheomelanin and low levels of eumelanin. Pheomelanin is also responsible for the coloration of freckles, which red-haired people are more likely to have. I have dark brown hair, and you can see the difference in coloration between the skin on my hand on the left and Sarah's hand on the right. While being a redhead can be fun, it also has its drawbacks. When pheomelanin is exposed to the ultraviolet rays of the sun, it can become carcinogenic, which is why redheads have to be especially vigilant in protecting themselves against skin cancer. The relationship between pheomelanin and radiation was the subject of an article published in April 2011 in the journal Oikologia. The researchers found that bird population declines due to exposure to ionizing radiation after the nuclear reactor accident at Chernobyl were stronger in species with pheomelanin-based coloration. In general, creatures with high levels of pheomelanin seem to be more sensitive to the effects of both ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. Would this explain why the Pyrrholoxias living in the southwest, where the non-ionizing radiation from the sun is intense, have evolved to have coloration not based on pheomelanin, while most cardinals have maintained their pheomelanin? The problem with this idea is that there are cardinals as well as Pyrrholoxias living in the desert heat of Arizona. Even though the species is called the northern cardinal, it used to be found mostly in the southern U.S. a couple of centuries ago before dramatically expanding its range to the north and east. Nobody is sure why the Pyrrholoxia stayed put while the cardinal populations expanded. Male southwestern cardinals are paler than their more northerly counterparts. There might be some genetic advantage for birds to be paler or eliminate much of their pheomelanin if they reside in a climate where summer temperatures routinely soar past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But until more is known about the biochemistry of pheomelanin, any discussion about why gray girl's very abnormal coloration so closely resembles what Pyrrholoxias look like normally will have to involve a lot of speculation. Still, I enjoyed watching Gray Girl in the spring of 2012, and I hope she sticks around Beverly Hills for a while.